Hi everyone. This week we are going to be doing an kind of a research project. It's not really a research project because you don't have to do a lot of writing, but you are going to be studying Equidae evolution. Equidae is the class of species that horses belong to, and it also includes a bunch of other things like donkeys and zebras and I don't know, wild asses. And yes, that's an actual term, so you can giggle all you want. But um, I want to carry you through the project because you're going to be taking a look at them and trying to determine how they evolved and to create what's called a phylogenetic tree. Um, the first thing that there is a video, and I'm not going to sit here with the video, but I want you to watch the video. It's not long, okay? But then the family Equidae is the living species of equids are assigned to the genus Equus, which is Equus, and are spread across large and diverse environments of Africa and Eurasia. Now, I want to pause. Nope, I'm going to tell you that in a minute. They've all descended from a common ancestor almost 4 million years ago that lived somewhere in northeast Africa. That's where all horse species of all kinds, all equidae, came from North Africa 4 million years ago. As the population split apart and moved into different climates and ecosystems, they began to adapt to the new environment. As a result, speciation occurred. Now, I wrote all that, so it's okay if I read it. One thing to note is that the Equus caballus, that's what we consider the North American wild horse, in which a lot of our what we call horses, those species came from. They're not native to North America. They were brought here by European explorers in the 14th and 15th century, and they established themselves here as a population. So they're technically what we call feral. Now, there were horse species here in North America, but they went extinct. And we do find horse fossils here, or I should be saying equidae, not horses. We do find equidae fossils here, but today's horses, the ones that you see in rodeos and that my daughter rides, they are not native to North America. They were brought here from Europe and Asia, mostly Asia. Um, and so, yeah, okay. Now, but which species of equine did they likely come from? And you'll see what I mean in just a minute. I'll show you a map. You'll play the role of an evolutionary scientist. You'll be studying many different species of pieces of information about these animals and determine their relationships and their evolutionary history. Your job is to examine all 6 species of equidae that I'm showing you. This is not all 6 species. There's 30 something, 40 something. But we're just going to study 6. It just makes life easy. Start by looking at their features. I've given you some examples, but feel free to do a Google search for images of the animals, their skulls, their skeletons, their bone patterns such as hooves, etc. Okay. Here's the first one. This is Equus caballus, or the wild horse. And this, you'll see on a map where this came from. Now, this is a very well taken care of wild horse. This is actually probably a domesticated wild horse. But I want you to know some things about their skull, okay, and their skeleton shape. And this is for you to look at. I'm not going to do this with you right now, so you're going to look at this. I'm just showing you what I got for you. Another one is Przewalski's horse. Okay, this is not a normal horse like you would see, and there's some differences in the skull and bone structure. Here is the Somalian wild ass. Okay, I'm sure you're giggling right now, but it's E. africanus somaliensis. And you'll notice some things. I'm going to point to something that I think you ought to look at. You'll notice some differences in things like their skulls and their maybe something different. Maybe look at their hooves. I don't know. Don't know what you're going to look at. Here is the Kang, the Tibetan Kang. Again, look at hooves. That's the best skull picture I could find. Okay, look at their body shape. Evolutionary scientists start looking at morphological structures like these when they're trying to determine relationships. Okay. By the way, to be clear, these are all different species. All right, of equine. Let's see. Here's the E. Hemonius, or the Mongolian wild ass, which is not the same as the Somalian wild ass. Okay, and you should be able to look at this and see that there's some differences. Okay, there's something different about this than regular horses. And then finally, here is the East African zebra. There are actually several species of zebra, but we're going to pretend like there's only one. And again, take a look at the skull and the yeah, that shape right there. Another thing that we can do is study them from the standpoint of a biogeography. Where an organism can be found is could give you a clue as to evolutionary relationships. One thing we're not looking at is location of fossils, but assume that the fossils that we find of these are also found in the same area. And unless you're a wild horse, because that was transplanted to the United States, I'm going to show you a map right here of where we find all these. The Kiang, that's this guy here, here, and here. The Przewalski's horse is found here, here, and here. The Hemione, or however you say Hermione, is found here, here, and here. All right. And the Hermione is also found right across here. We've got the wild ass found there, and the zebra found here. Now, you could maybe draw some conclusions about this just by looking at where you find them on Earth. Do you think the zebra is more closely related to the wild ass or to Przewalski's horse? Okay. Just by looking at that one thing, you should be able to tell who is closely related to who and who's not. Okay. Take a close look at this map and help it to let it give you some clues. Now, for the longest time, that's all scientists had to go by, and they made a lot of their determinations as to who was related to who species-wise based on just information like that. But then we discovered the chromosomes, and we started being able to take a look at the chromosomal structure of these organisms and draw some conclusions. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So we're going to examine the genetic information of the species in two ways. The first thing we're going to do is look at the chromosomal number. It's a great clue to relationships because not everything has the same number of chromosomes. Just to remind you that humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Now, we don't draw any conclusion about complexity because horses have more chromosomes than humans do. And as it turns out, we can't find any relationship between the number of chromosomes you have and how complex you are. So don't think that just because horses have more chromosomes than we do that they're more complex or something like that. That's not what we're doing here. But the number of chromosomes is very interesting, and you should write this down. The American wild horse has 32 chromosomes, but the Somali wild ass only has 31. And we know they're genetically related, so at some point their ancestors had 31 chromosomes and one split, making it a 32, or they had 32 chromosomes and two merged into making one. The closer the chromosomal number, the more genetically related they are. But over time, the numbers of chromosomes can change because one chromosome can break in half and become two, or two chromosomes can merge together to become one. That happens all the time. Okay, but and then you can read this yourself. But here we go. Here's the chromosomal number of all of those horse species, right? The American wild horse has 32. Przewalski's 33. I forget which one this is. This was the Somalian wild ass, I think, is 31. The Kiang only has 26. The Hermione has 31, and the zebra has 22. Can you determine some relationships? Who's more closely related to who just by looking at this? Now, you can't necessarily draw total conclusions, but it can really help you determine who's more closely related to who just by looking at this. And this really made a big difference when evolutionary scientists were trying to determine who was related to who. Being able to look at the chromosomal number was a big thing. But there was still, we still did our best, but we got even more data available to us later on when we were actually able to, and this has only happened since roughly 2002, we've been able to take DNA and compare the DNA of organisms to determine even better relationships. So perhaps the best information that can be used for discovering evolutionary relationships is DNA comparison. We've been able to extract DNA from all species and read each genetic code. By comparing these codes with other species, we can do a much better job of predicting relationships. In this case, we're going to look at one gene. It's the EF flock C1 gene that codes for each animal's teeth shape. Okay? And so we found that all of these horse species have this gene, and that we know exactly the sequence of nucleotides that make up the gene, and it's slightly different in each one. And so here they are. Here is the genetic sequence for the F flock C1 gene in a zebra, in all of them, right? And what you can do is you can start comparing how close these are to each other. Okay, I would, if I were you, I might would print this out or draw it out or something. But you know, I'm just going to give you an example. Cabalas and Przalski, notice how close they are. Okay, they are exactly the same till you get, where do you get? Oh my gosh, they're basically exactly the same, aren't they? They're exactly the same. Boy, that should tell you something right there. These two species have the exact same gene for the flock C1 gene, the exact same sequence. They're very close related. But look at these Somaliensis. Okay, they, oh, right there. There's a couple different right there. All right, actually right here, and a few more. How different they are from each other, or how close they are to each other, suggests relationships. Okay, now that's all the data that you have. You're gonna have to kind of dig through it and take a look at it, and you're gonna have to explain to me in a couple of paragraphs how you did this. So pay attention to what you did. Okay, so the assignment has two parts. Part one is you're going to make a phylogenetic tree, and I'm going to pull that up here real fast. Hang on. Here's the phylogenetic tree that I've made for you that's blank. And I just want you to know we can actually go all the way back to the common ancestor 3.9 million years ago. This is the Propaleotherium. You saw this in the opening video that I showed you. And three different groups of animals came out of this. The tapirs, okay, that's these little bitty guys right here. The rhinoceroses, okay, and then the horses. These are the horses here, okay, and these are the 6 horse species that we are looking at, the 6 Equidae species. What you're going to do, I've really helped you out here. All you have to do is fill in the blank. You'll notice that 2 sets of species here are very close related. 2 sets here are very close related, and there's the 5th one and the 6th one, not so close. Like this one's not so close, and this one's kind of close to these guys. What you have to do is take all the information that we have, that I've given you, and try to determine who goes what. Literally, all you have to do is write the species, the genus and species, or the scientific name here. That's all you got to do. What I'd like for you to do now is maybe go a little bit further here and draw this. Maybe draw a picture of the animal or something here. What I'd like for you to do is, when you get this finished, you're going to email it to me, and yeah, you're going to email it to me, and I want you to make this pretty. Make it your own. Put your name at the top. Do some drawing. Draw the horses over here. Do some drawing out on the side. I just want to be able to put this on Facebook. Okay, I want people to be able to see what you guys have done. All right. So this is part 1 of the assignment, is to complete this. All right. Now part 2 of the assignment is for you to follow this link to a Google form. I don't need to pull up the form, but you can. Well, you know what? Let's just pull it up. What the heck, right? Here's the form, and it's a pretty straightforward thing. I want you to, right here, I guess I need to fix that, explain how you concluded which species were more closely related to the other. Basically, how did you decide who goes where on the chart? And you're going to write me a couple of paragraphs here as an answer. Now, some things I need you to know. This is high school. I expect high school level writing. You're not texting this to me. I want it written well. Use proper grammar and punctuation. Think about it. So think about your sentence structure. Okay. Now, this submits itself. So once you're done, you just click submit, and that comes to me. But the problem, there's one thing, this right here, you have to take a picture of it, and then I want you to email it to me. So I'm going to be getting an email from each one of you with this in it. So there's 2 things to do this week, or there's 2 assignments this week. It's all going to go together as one grade, but you're going to, once you finish this, make it all pretty, okay, you're going to take a picture of it and email it to me, and then you're going to fill this out, and it automatically submits. And that's it. That's all you have to do for the whole week. Okay? Email me if you have any questions, and don't just email me and go, I don't get it, because that means you didn't really try. If you have a specific question, good. Call me, email me, and I'll try to help you. But otherwise, this is designed for you to work on your own. So keep reading. Yes, I realize this is difficult, but that's why it's all we're doing this week. And then next week, we're going to get ready for the semester exam. All right? Good luck. Talk to you soon. Bye.